Just like in case with your sexuality, I've been really ambivalent about reviewing early access games. Like many of you, I've been duped multiple times by supporting this kind of unhealthy market behavior that virtually allows devs not to follow on their promises. But what if, hear me out, I'm stupid enough to think that this time it's gonna be different. That this game is already good enough and keeps on delivering content on a scheduled basis. This game certainly warrants a review, right? There are tons of unfinished structures that already can be considered work of art, so why not give this a shot? So welcome to Manor Lords, everybody. This game has been in development for 7 years before entering early access. Is it good and worth your time? Bottom line, wait if you want to play the game as intended, buy if you want to support the vision and help the dev buy an island if he hasn't already. Keep watching if you want to know more. First thing you should know is that Manor Lords is a village management sim sprinkled with occasional RTS battles. It's like if Age of Empires, Total War and Stronghold became a throuple and gave birth to this game that's made by only one developer, which is a testament to perseverance and human stubbornness. Props to you, Greg. As somebody who's been really disappointed by Guild 3, this here is a nice city builder that's well worth your time and money. Or is it? What if it's just overhyped? I want to preface something obvious. Firstly, you have to be ready for early access growing pains, which means that there's a gaping hole of content in the endgame, leaving players yearning for more after their conquest and construction are complete, especially when you're done with the initial challenges. You have to make up goals to keep going, otherwise you might get bored after a while. Usually, it happens after 10 to 15 hours of playthrough. And I'm just being honest here, don't shoot the messenger. Secondly, if you prefer a polished experience without bugs, this game might not be for you, because it's early access, and as the name implies, you're part of the development process, and you're helping the developer get rid of the pesky bugs and demand more content. Having said that, it never crashed on me once, which I wish I could say about other games I've been playing recently. But I'm certain that this game will not be an abandonware, and it will blossom into a city builder that the dev envisioned, because of the amount of money the dev now has. Imagine the pressure this guy operates now under. Sheesh. Now, he can't possibly just tease us with the game without delivering on his promise, right? Another thing that the dev envisioned is the following game formula: seasons, which is something you might have problems with. Listen to this. During various seasons, you need to prepare the supplies to survive the harsh winter. Just like you, every season lasts only 5 minutes, so you need to be careful with your time. In spring, you need to assign foresters and berry pickers to their positions, as well as farmers if you didn't sow the field in autumn. In summer, you do fuck all, drink, be merry and play video games. I recommend playing Infra if you haven't done so already. It's my favorite. In autumn, you focus on reaping and sowing. This is your prime objective, because get this, if you get distracted by a battle or intensive gooning session, you can forget about this year's harvest, and that means your villagers are soon gonna be joining the angels. In winter, you need to reallocate all the seasonal jobs again, so don't forget about that. By the way, do you know what is it that makes men love city building games? Autism, of course. I just explained to you one cycle of this wonderful game. And did you pick up on the enormous amount of micromanagement? It's true, it's all there. You're going to play with job slots a lot, especially if you're playing on sped up time. One detriment to this fine micromanagement situation is that it distracts you from everything else that's important, like texting your mom or assuming control of adjacent regions and building villages there from scratch. And, you guessed it, that pretty much multiplies the amount of micromanagement you need to go through. I feel like it's supposed to be easy. I feel like it's something the game could have automated. But then again, this isn't Majesty, so maybe I shouldn't complain about building towns in a town building game. At least traffic flows are better than in City Skylines too. If you played Stronghold, you already know about production chains. I.e., to make an armor, you first need to build an iron mine that produces iron that will later be used by an armorer to make a suit of armor. Or, if you want bread, first, you need to build a wheat farm that will grow wheat for a windmill that will grind it into flour that will be used by a baker to make some bread. Same rules apply here. Production chain is the name of the game. You need to meticulously arrange your supply of raw materials to ensure your production buildings cater to the needs of your village. You have to organize it like your porn library, or it's game over. And your village is a victim of RNG, because when you start, you're giving a random point on the map. So just like lying on your resume, you need to do it a couple of times before you get a good position with rich resources. And city building is something this game excels at. Seriously, you have complete freedom on how you want to design your village. Each settlement will look unique, because of randomized looks of houses, amazingly smooth curves of the road. Oof. Your village will look one of a kind and personalized, instead of faceless copy-pasted structures in other RTS games. Personalization is a huge plus. I really feel like the town is mine because I built it the way I wanted to, even if it's a complete mess, like my credit score. The game is difficult to master. Production chains, farming seasons, and intricate economy system have a difficult learning curve, so your first village will not see a bright future unless you have more chromosomes than me and can understand the game mechanics on the fly. Good luck figuring out taxes, horse insemination, and crop rotation all in one go. Don't expect a total war game in terms of battle frequency and depth. Your focus is on city management, but boy oh boy are battles fun. Unit response is way better than in Total War games, but the battles themselves are kinda basic, but still fun to play. Formations and battle strategies largely impact who is going to win on the battlefield, so you can't just choose your units and give them an order to kill them all in a mosh pit, shaka bra. Doesn't work like that. You need to work smarter, taking care of soldiers' stamina and morale. Having said that, the battlesphere more like Stronghold rather than Mountain Blade. But there's still a problem with pathfinding, because your army may not always choose the best path to take, resulting in many troubles of moving your soldiers where you want them to be. Graphically, the game is a feast. The architecture is a wet dream for anyone who dabbles in history. It's so well detailed that it brings you right into the 14th century atmosphere. The immersion is insane. Historical accuracy, though, doesn't end there. Even your gameplay reflects it. For example, provisions deteriorate if not stored properly, or people running away screaming from brigands, or battles. Oh boy, battles are an absolute eye candy. What I like about Manor Lords is that you can zoom into the level of seeing people and the work that they're doing. Now that's what I call immersion. What's more is that there's a third-person view, giving you a unique and thorough look into the life of a simple peasant that helps you explore your village in ways you couldn't have dreamt of. It is so visually impressive, I want to forget what real life is. It's pastoral, serene, beautiful. It's like Kingdom Come is now an RTS and you can rebuild Skalitz. I'm not joking. Not only that, but it's insane how much one developer can deliver and make what AAA studios can't. This is the best way early access can look like. Clearly there are missing features, which dev says right up front, so there's nothing misleading in this game. Every building in this game, every citizen, every soldier is crafted with painstaking detail. You can look at any model and go, oh, so that's what it's like in medieval times. Neat. Let's turn on some tunes though. In Manor Lords, music is seamless. What's that mean? Well, is winter coming? There's the track for it. Is battle about to begin? You can be sure there's a track for it. Is it chill and you just slowly manage your village? There's a track for it. Authentic medieval vibe with traditional instruments and tunes that set you in the right mood is all it takes to increase the immersion effect. This is one of those games where I didn't turn off the music and just listen to autopsy podcasts. I'm gonna be honest here, I spent 10 whole minutes in the main menu just listening to the music. It is seriously good, and same can be said about sound design and partial voice acting. All good across the board. But let's flip the script here. The tagline of my video is Drowning in Promise. I talked about the promise, now let's talk about the drowning part. Early access imposes some serious limitations. For example, you may see some menu button, click on it only to find the ever-infuriating coming soon tag. It's frustrating, to be honest. It will be a great game one day, I believe that. And you can take a glimpse of that greatness today already, but we still have to wait. For now, it immediately pulls us in with gorgeous visuals. The amount of detail in villages, houses and landscapes is fantastic. It's got the charm, I can tell you that much. However, the game has poor balance, especially in trading and production chains. As I mentioned, pathfinding is shaky, so combat can be an issue too. The NPC lord, who is your main opponent, is far too aggressive and has fat stacks of troops to claim territories before you have a chance to do it. Policies and developments are not fully there yet, so town management is not as deep as it could have been. SimCity or City Skylines are better in regard to intro experience. You can dive right into those games and know exactly how to proceed from scratch. And the number of things you can do grows organically. It starts out with one or two little things you can focus on, but by the time you have 10,000 people, you now have several major projects you can pursue, and by the time you have 100,000 people, you have dozens of major projects to choose from, and they're all introduced at a decent pace and presented in a clear manner. In Manor Lords, you're on your own. There is no feedback, so to speak, no advisors to tell you how to proceed. And maybe it's because I'm old, but I don't feel like studying to learn how to play a game before I can play it. Pretty much every major problem of Manor Lords can be written off by the "well, it's an early access game" argument. It is very much flawed at the moment, but most of the issues can be very easily seen as the game not being finished or polished yet. And that is true. The game states that it's work in progress, so my every argument can be defeated by this 3-letter abbreviation. However, one thing I'm sure a lot of people will not like, though I personally like it a lot as a novel concept, is the emphasis on region-based management. Manor Lords isn't really a city builder game, it's a fiefdom manager. You control multiple individual lands, each of which has its own separate economy, its own separate tech progression, and own separate administration. The point is not to build one mega city, but rather to develop several, often highly specialized, smaller hamlets, and then make the trade mechanics your bitch and create an interconnected economic network. Effectively, this means you'll be developing the same basic infrastructure several times, which can be a pain in the ass for some due to excessive micromanagement. This is one of the several systems in the game that go against common intuitions people have about games like this. I see a lot of potential in it, to be honest. I love making smaller, interconnected systems more than just continuously developing a single one, because more often than not, it gets bloated and I drop it like a hot potato. But I can't see why many people don't like it. It's also pretty poorly implemented at the moment, with the regional trade system being beyond unintuitive and unreliable, which I mentioned before. Also, there's a big potential problem brewing with the game's frankly awful AI. Unit pathfinding is beyond broken, and the controls, especially for someone used to Total War games, are abysmal. And all of this makes me wonder if the promised AI-built settlements are even remotely feasible at this point. I can see the game just dropping this feature in the future, and I can see pathfinding being a massive problem in relation to the promised castle building mechanic. My suspicion being even bigger considering the game has no actually distinctive terrain features like cliffs or huge rivers, which I suspect is to prevent the AI from shitting itself, and it does not increase my confidence. Now that is the ugly side of Manor Lords I just told you about. Make of that what you will. But all in all, it's a terrific game made by one single vision, undiluted by corporate greed, which you don't find often in our oversaturated gaming market. And even if the dev just completes the promised features and calls it quits, it's going to be one hell of a game. You have to understand that it's not here to replace Age of Empires or Total War. It's doing its own thing, which is giving us very beautiful, pastoral, immersive, well-detailed, engaging experience I'm sure you'll enjoy. Like an underground Thai massage parlor, it gives and it gives and it gives. And I can see that for some, it may be the game they've been waiting their entire life. For me, it's also a delight, because I love me Middle Ages and love me city builders. Simple as. So, in my humble opinion, it deserves the hype. And that's something I don't give out lightly. I see the detriments, I see the cracks in the foundation, but honestly, truly, have some goddamn faith. Thanks for watching.